Hi everyone, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you're new here, my name is Stephanie and I cover oily skin, hooded eyes, and beauty. So welcome back to my eye primer wars. Today's episode 10. So if you're watching this in the future, I will link everything down below for you. So I will be testing out 10 drugstore eye primers for your hooded eyes. And for each of these primers, I do want to see how well they work when being set with a setting powder and then how well they work without being set with a setting powder. So let's go ahead and get into eyeshadow primer number 10, and that's going to be the Wet n Wild Photofocus Eyeshadow Primer. So this eye primer claims to feature a smooth, effortless application that dries to a clear finish and keeps your eye makeup in place. As always, I tested this product out for 2 days and day 1 is my first impression, so let's roll the tape. Today's day 1 and I have nothing on my eyelids, so let's go ahead and get into the eye primer. Here's what the eye primer is looking like. Ooh, it's kind of thick and I like that there's like a little color to it and it's very silky soft. Okay, so very much like the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation, this has a very strong paint scent. I hope that goes away. So I'm only going to be putting the eyeshadow primer on the right eye. I want a side-by-side comparison on how well the eye primer is doing. All right, here's what it's looking like dried down. You can definitely see the eye primer has mattified my eyelid. To be honest, I don't even think this needs to be set, but I'm going to anyway for the sake of how I've just been testing out all of these primers. Now I'm just going to pat eyeshadow all over the lid. Now for the real test, blending in the crease. I see just a little bit of tug marks, but I can tell that I'll be able to clean this up. But this is looking really, really nice. Nothing is patchy. Nothing is really skipping. It's looking really, really good. Now that I've cleaned that up, I'm going to deepen the outer thirds. Okay, that was super simple. This is looking so good. Everything blended out so smoothly. I feel like I did my eyeshadow in like 2 seconds. It is looking so good. Let me go ahead and do the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. Okay, so the prime side is looking so good, so smooth, so seamless. And of course, the non-prime side is looking just not so great. I mean, there's only so much I can do with eyeshadow blending on my bare skin. While the prime side is looking so good, so much better than the non-prime side, I actually see them as the same when it comes to vibrancy. There's just not really much vibrancy going on with this eyeshadow primer. Now let's go ahead and do a close-up so that way you guys can see. Here's the non-prime side first. It is not looking too great. It's looking patchy and just, you know, not the desired look. And then here's the prime side looking so good and so smooth. It's been 10 hours, so let's take a look at my eyes. Okay, so I'm looking in the mirror here and the prime side is looking so good still. I can tell that it has faded just a bit, but I don't see any creasing or anything like that. It looks really good after a 10-hour wear. And as expected, the non-prime side isn't looking too great because my eyeshadow is basically off of my entire eyelid. I do have it kind of like in the crease down here. That's where everything just kind of like migrated. Everything else is fading. It just doesn't look that great. Let's go ahead and do a close-up so that way you guys can see. Here's what the non-prime side is looking like and it's not looking too great. And then here's the prime side looking so good after a 10-hour wear. Today's day 2 and I have nothing on my eyelids, so let's go ahead and give this eyeshadow primer another shot. Just like last time, I'm only going to be putting the eye primer on the right eyelid, and this time around I won't be setting it with a setting powder. Okay, I'm just going to let this dry for a minute. All right, now I'm just going to go straight into the eyeshadow. Okay, now that is pigmented. Okay, so I am seeing just some creasing going on right here, which is really, really weird. Now for the real test, blending in the crease. Okay, that is insanely pigmented. I should not have picked up that much eyeshadow, but there you go. Now I'm just gonna deepen up the outer third. Okay, so far this is looking really, really nice. It did not take long at all to blend any of this out. Now I did just take a clean fluffy brush to kind of like make it not so intense because this eyeshadow primer without setting it with a setting powder will really make everything pop. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so there are some positives with this eyeshadow primer, and that's the fact that it is making my eyeshadow very vibrant. It's making it pop, but just up close, it looks crusty. I'm just gonna do a close-up so that way you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's look at the non-prime side first. This is definitely looking a lot better than the prime side. It's just looking so smooth and effortless. Also, the best way I can describe this entire eye is just crusty. Okay guys, I feel like I say this a lot, but on day 2, my eyeshadow really did look crunchy. It just didn't translate that well on camera. So whenever I went off camera to do the rest of my makeup, I like got really in there and it just did not look good. And when I say crunchy, I mean the powders, the shadows just didn't like layer on top of each other that well. They didn't really blend together that well. Like you could tell that powder was just sitting on my eyelid. So that's what I mean by that. I do try really hard to show you guys as much as I can when it comes to my eyeshadow or like my makeup in general. I try to get you guys as close as I can, but I can only do so much. And so yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Now, I didn't have audio for the end of the day on day 2. I don't know how that happened, but it did. But of course, I did make sure that I got my close-ups for you guys. Now, as we can all guess, the non-prime side just did not look great at all. My natural oils came through and my eyeshadow on my eyelid just completely came off. And the eyeshadow that I did have on like in the crease and the outer thirds just kind of like faded and just did not look that great for a 10-hour wear. Now the prime side looked a lot better at the end of the day. I just feel like it was kind of worn down after 10 hours and it didn't look so powdery. It didn't look so crunchy. It actually looked nice and smooth. With that being said, I wanted to mention that I did notice my eyelids were particularly itchy on the days that I wore this eyeshadow primer. Now I do have eczema prone skin, so I kind of figured that my skin was just reacting to this cold front that we're experiencing here in Texas. And when I say cold front, I mean we're in like the low 90s. But then I read some reviews on this eyeshadow primer and apparently I am not the only one experiencing the itchiness. I don't want to risk causing an eczema flare-up on my eyelids just to see if this is what the cause was for the itchiness on my eyelids, because eczema is no joke, especially if it's on the most sensitive parts of your skin. So I will not continue to use this and I'm never going to be repurchasing this, and I'm not going to be recommending something that could be causing any harm to your skin. I don't think that it's Hooded Eye approved and I don't think that it's worth the $5.49 that I paid for. I know that that's cheap, but if this is going to cause any harm, I am not going to recommend this at all. So not approved. Now I do have a question for you guys. If you've tried this primer before, let me know what your experience was, whether it was good or bad. Let me know down in the comments below because I really am curious. And if you like this series, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Now this is the very last episode for this entire series. Don't forget, we will have the best and worst for the eye primer wars, so that will be coming soon, but this is going to be the end of trying out any eye primers as of right now. So let me know down in the comments below, what do you want to see me do? Whether it's Hooded Eye series or Oily Skin series, let me know down in the comments below. And thank you guys so much for everything. Yeah, bye. Why am I so awkward?